Am I even in the center of this thing? It would be nice if it had a flip up screen, but it doesn't. Hello. So I've been talking about how I wanted to film an update to my I don't remember actually what it's called, how to stop hating yourself, or how I learned to stop hating myself video for a really long time. I've been kind of putting it off. Sometimes I'll be like alone in the bathroom and I'll be like talking through it in my head. And so there's like a few different ways that I wanted to like give you an update. And I don't know if I'm gonna remember everything that I wanted to say. So that's just for me. I don't know why you need to know that. Also, my dishwasher is going. And I'm filming on a new camera. So I don't know how this audio is gonna be. So please forgive me, but this is very much a like, I just wanted to sit down and talk to you, okay? If you have not seen that video, I'll link it up here. If you're just like curious about it. Basically, I've been doing a lot of therapy. 2024 and 2025 are the years of therapy for me. Very, very good. Very good for me. In that video, just quickly, if you don't want to watch it, I just basically talked about like practicing self-compassion, which is like such a new concept to me. And I know a lot of you resonated with it. So I wanted to kind of give you a follow-up because so many people resonated with it. And the thing about the internet is that no matter how much you are aware of the fact that people on the internet, Ziva is snoring so cutely right now. I don't know if you can hear that, but she's like, it's so cute. Anyway, no matter how much you are aware of the fact that people on the internet are people just like you, and like you can try to rationalize it and be like, you know, I see this person who maybe I look up to or whose content I enjoy at the very least, and you know, they say that they struggle. They say that, you know, like, oh, you know, I'm a human too and I have bad days and good days and blah, blah, blah. But if you don't see it, it's very difficult to know it. Very difficult. You can rationalize it, you can try to remind yourself, but it's really like something about the internet. It's just like, if you don't see it, it's not real. Which is basically why I wanted to film this video. So, a quick little update basically is that, you know, in that video I talked about noticing the literal, like just the tiny little act of noticing when you are having negative thoughts about yourself, or you're beating yourself up, or you're having judgmental thoughts. The main thing that I really want to hammer home, because I don't actually know how long ago it was that I filmed that video, it was a minute ago, is that I am still working on that. Like when I filmed that video, it's not like I reached like peak zen, like, and I'm like a monk now, and I'm like, oh, I notice when I'm judging myself, and then I just brush it away and everything, like, oh, I'm so, you know, enlightened. That is absolutely not the case. Anyone who has been in therapy or done some kind of like work on themselves successfully will tell you that, and you've probably heard this from, I don't know, mental health experts on the internet, that it is not, or even like, I feel like a lot of fitness people say the same thing, that it's not like, your progression is not a straight line. It is very much like this, you know? In that video, I talked a little bit about my relationship with my OCD. And this video, again, like that video is not about my OCD, but I've been doing therapy specifically for OCD for like 2 years almost now, which is crazy. Like I started in 2023. When I saw that, I was like, what? Like I've been doing it that long? And I gotta tell you, the progress that I have made is unbelievable to me. Like I still cannot fathom it. It doesn't feel real. I had a very tangible experience recently when I was, if you're not aware, I was in Italy for a friend's wedding, which was fabulous, amazing. So much pasta. So much pasta, so much truffle, so much olive oil. So I'm obsessed with olives now. I'm eating olives out of the jar. Who is she? I never liked olives. Now I love olives. My OCD symptoms, which are typically like cleanliness and like disgust when it comes to dishes and things, it's been such a problem for me throughout my life, going and eating at restaurants, eating out with people, eating with friends. It was almost non-existent that entire trip, which is like mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing. I had moments of like exposures, if you're aware at all. Like I'm not gonna, again, this isn't about OCD, so I'm not getting into it. But I had moments of exposures, and the distress, oh, it was the wind. Sorry. My window was open in the bedroom. That was terrifying. Basically I had exposures, and the distress levels were so low. Like I was very present, and it was, I mean, for me, that is unbelievable. Like unbelievable to think that I was able to make that kind of progress, get to that kind of place. That being said, in the middle, since I've recorded this last video about how I learned to stop hating myself, I have had some really low lows. And the main reason for that is because if you are in any kind of therapy or interested in any kind of therapy, or yeah, I don't know, it's kind of like, therapy's so broad because there are so many different things that you could be therapizing, you know? But if you have been interested in it, or if you're in it, or if you're beginning, you know, to work on things like that, there's not one thing. There isn't one thing. For me specifically, starting with treating OCD, specifically OCD, was extremely useful. It's like hyper focused on OCD, but in that therapy and making progress through that, I realized how much more there was to tackle. And that is kind of where like the low lows came from. It's because you're sort of piecing things together really, really slowly. And it's like it feels like, I'm getting there with like this one thing, and then something else pops up. And it feels very overwhelming. Something that I experienced in my OCD therapy when I started, I can't remember if I mentioned this in that last video, but it was very much like, this is a big part of it. When I was starting to try and practice self-compassion, and I was trying to notice when like judgmental thoughts or negative thoughts about myself were popping up, my mind felt very loud, like very loud. And it felt like a lot of argument. It was a lot of argument between like positive and negative feelings, and also just like neutral feelings, specifically neutral feelings. Yeah, finding neutrality rather than like faking positivity, you know what I mean? In place of negativity. And all of those like thoughts were just like yelling at each other, basically. And I'm feeling that right now with a more, I guess less specific, it is specific, but it's a slightly more like general therapy. It's not CBT. I don't really know what I would classify it as. And I'm to be honest with you, I'm not super interested in getting like super in depth into like what I'm therapizing right now, like specifically what I'm working on. Other than in that last video, I did mention binge eating. And that's kind of like where I wanted to touch on. So if you don't want to hear about that, skip the rest of this video. I'm not going to be talking about, I don't think I'm going to be talking about anything specifically sensitive, but if you happen to be like very sensitive to this topic, or it's just like you're not in a place where you want to listen to it, I would just click off now. Talked a little bit about binge eating in that video. Binging and restricting has been a process throughout my life. And in this therapy that I'm working on, I'm working with a specific therapist right now. So I have two therapists, my OCD therapist and this therapist. We're focusing more so on binge eating and learning how to emotionally regulate in a healthy way, which apparently I didn't learn. Very clear that I did not learn that. And so I'm currently trying to, and I have reached that point that I did in my OCD therapy where my mind is noisy. It is so noisy. And I can feel things clicking. I can feel things being reframed, and it's a very exciting feeling. It's also an extremely emotionally overwhelming feeling. And like I said, I've had some very, very low lows. However, those low lows are getting higher each time, which is incredible. It's incredible to be able to kind of like look back at where I was and where I am now. One of the things that I wanted to just share with you, if you have like a similar difficulty with emotional regulation, and if you use food to cope, me specifically, it's junk food, since I was a kid. There's a woman who I came across here on YouTube, Rachel Wrigley, who talked about her experience with binge eating as a child and how she overcame it, and now she works to help other women to, you know, work on their relationship with food and learn how to emotionally regulate in a healthier way. I will link her channel down below. I feel like maybe I mentioned her in that last video. I don't remember, but I just think she's so fantastic. And she doesn't go like so into depth about things because she does like have a business where she works with women. But her videos are, if you're looking for just like a little wake up call, like a little like something that might turn on a switch. If you feel like maybe you resonate with this, but you're not entirely sure, highly recommend listening to her videos, because they were probably the first time that I connected with someone and felt like, oh, this is something that I do not have to live with for the rest of my life, and I could actually change, you know? So I think she's fabulous. She's also like, she's British and she's adorable. So that, you know, just a bonus. Anyway, one of the things that I was originally planning on getting back from Italy and filming right away. Why not? I was on vacation. I should be getting back to work. I have felt so fucking emotionally overwhelmed since getting back. Partially with good things and partially with like struggles with food that I'm still dealing with. And like I said, I'm piecing things together. Things are getting better, but I've gained quite a bit of weight. And that for me has always been so fucking difficult. So fucking difficult. Since I was like 11 or 12, I thought I was fat. And when I look back at like me being 11 or 12, bro, I wasn't at all, you know? But like, that's that body dysmorphia situation. Anyway, if you deal with this, highly recommend checking out Rachel Wrigley. One of the things that I was able to kind of take away from her videos, and I watched a lot of them, was specifically that like, if you are going to heal your relationship with food and learn how to, and take the next step, basically, there are a lot of different steps to emotionally regulating in a more healthy way, which for me, I'm trying to redirect that energy into more creative things. I've made a lot of connections recently in like a couple of therapy sessions that are making a lot of sense to me. And it's like, what? I like did not make that connection before. And it's so nice to understand where certain things come from, how to like kind of redirect, like little tools you can use. Body image has been so difficult, as like so many women these days or any day have dealt with. I recently, when I was in Italy, I was able to just be present with friends. And like I said, we were there for friends' weddings, so we had like a lot of friends that we were with as well. And not be worried about how I looked constantly. And that was the first time, what felt like ever. It doesn't matter how fit I ever was, doesn't matter how skinny I ever was, doesn't matter how good my makeup has ever looked or my hair has ever looked. This was the first time in my life where I'm the heaviest I've ever been. And I was not that preoccupied with that thought. And I realized in that moment, it was something that I was kind of kicking around before we went on the trip, but I really realized, and it was solidified for me during this trip, that you have to get to a place where you are able to be comfortable with yourself completely at whatever size you are. And it's terrifying to hear that if you are at the beginning of this journey. Or like if you haven't even started yet. The thought of that is terrifying. And trust me, because I remember hearing that from Rachel Wrigley. I remember just kind of like hearing that like around, hearing that from therapists. And I was like, that is horrifying. Like, what do you mean? That's impossible. How am I supposed to get to a place where I'm able to be like comfortable being like, I don't weigh myself, so like however heavier I am, like I don't know. But I did it. I did it in this trip. And I can just like, I have this, the the neutrality and a little bit of positivity is kind of starting to really overtake that negativity. And that is kind of like, that's like what you want to get to. That's like where I want to be. I want to be able to get to that place so that I am feeling like, oh, I want to actually eat things that are good for me, that I enjoy because I care about myself. Not because I want to look a certain way, not because like if I don't fit into this specific outfit, I'm gonna feel like shit. I just realized, sorry, it's hot in here. I think my AC just turned on. My armpits are sweaty. I also just got like washed my face and stuff, so my skin is really shiny and I have a bunch of pimple patches on. Apologies. Not that I need to like, you know, acknowledge that. I know a lot of people get annoyed when you acknowledge like things like sounds and stuff like that, but I don't know, it's kind of hard to, I just caught a glimpse. Like I said, I'm filming on a new camera. It doesn't have a flip up screen or any kind of monitor, so I have like a mirror behind it, and I just like caught a glimpse of like how shiny I am. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I feel like I'm in that place where I'm like starting to get to where I want to be. And it's honestly, bro, it's probably gonna take another fucking year or two. Like, who knows? I have no idea when I'm gonna reach that place. All I know is I'm headed in that direction, and it's been messy. It has not been clean. It's been messy. There've been a lot of tears. Okay, it's been the most difficult thing I've ever done in my entire life, but it has been so incredibly worth it. So if you watched that previous video about noticing negative thoughts or judgment, simply noticing it, just acknowledging it, not fighting it, just acknowledging it, noticing it. If you watch that video and you're like, this seems impossible, or like, what is the next step? Or, you know, or maybe you watched that and you thought like, oh, that's all I need to get to. Like that's the pinnacle. Like I just get there and then like it'll all work out. That's not the case. It's gonna be messy. It keeps being messy. And I know that like right now, I probably have some of my like worst days ahead of me. But those worst days in like relative to where I have been are so much better. If that makes sense. I really don't know if it does. But yeah, mostly I just wanted to give you this update because I know so many people resonated with that video, and I would hate for people to watch it and think that after that realization that I just like totally have it figured out, because I don't. I didn't. All right, still working on it, and I'm going to be continuing to work on lots of things. Yeah, that's basically it. I feel like I could talk about this shit for a while. Like, one of the things that I just kind of wanted to like bring up, my dark circles have gotten so much darker because I'm specifically eating foods that are emotionally triggering for me. I'm not gonna get into like that whole deal, but there are effects that like certain foods have on me, and I'm not worrying about that right now. So like how dark my dark circles are right now, I'm not worried about it. All right, I'm not stressing about it. My skin's been breaking out. I'm not stressing about it. I'm doing my skincare. I'm taking care of my skin. You know, like there are certain things that, yes, obviously, like drinking more water, eating more veggies, like making sure you're getting your vitamins and all of that is like something that is good for your body overall. But sometimes it has to feel like you're going backward, or it has to feel like you're undoing certain things to be able to get to like whatever the next level is. Like I said, it's messy, okay? When we do our makeup, if you do your eyes first, you know, you got like patches underneath your eyes, and like maybe you're doing a black smoky eye and like you don't have your eyebrows on yet. It looks crazy, but you just gotta trust the process. And at the end, you have a bomb ass smoky eye going on. Can we all relate to that? Because I feel like I can. So yeah, that's my update. And I don't know exactly how this all relates to my like makeup content. I'm obviously going to continue to film things for everyone. I'm not saying like I'm going away or anything like that. But it might, I don't know, maybe it's obvious to some people when I film. I feel like sometimes people can tell what's going on, you know, or if something's maybe a little bit off. I was feeling, like I said, very emotionally overwhelmed this week, and I was just like, I literally, I don't know, like my mind is not on makeup. It's not on work. Like I don't know how I'm gonna be able to like sit in front of a camera and like talk about blush. You know what I mean? So forgive me if in future videos that happens a bit, you know, like if that stuff kind of creeps in. If you're a casual viewer, then like you probably weren't watching this video. If you're a regular viewer, then maybe you'll be a little bit more attuned to what the fuck is going on. And I hope that if you are working on anything, number one, all I want to say is just like be patient with yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You don't even need to be kind to yourself. Just try to notice when you are judging yourself or being negative, and just try to be a little bit more sympathetic. And one of the easiest like little exercises that you can do in those situations is put yourself in someone else's shoes, or put someone else in your shoes. Take your best friend and put her or him or them in the same situation. How would you treat them if they were going through or feeling whatever you're feeling right now? You'd probably treat them with more compassion than you would yourself. You know what I mean? It's just a sad truth. So that's a good little exercise to be like, oh, maybe I should be like just ever so slightly a little bit nicer to myself, or at least a little bit more like understanding. Thank you for watching my TED Talk. I hope that you enjoyed. I don't know if this is like an enjoyable type of video, but whatever. And yeah, I don't know. If you resonate, let me know. And I'm always interested to hear like where people who are, because obviously like we do makeup here, right? Like beauty stuff, but I'm so much more interested in your stories when it comes to this kind of thing, because it really makes me feel so much less alone. And I know that it does the same thing for a lot of you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Here, let me just show you the cat really quick, because they're both being really cute. How long does this thing record for? Come on. Okay, bunny. Little bunny. Hi, little bunny. Excuse me. Kitten. You just gonna ignore me? You gonna ignore me? Why are you so cute? She's been so sweet recently. You're just a little sweetie. You're so sweet. Okay, I mean, she looks annoyed with me, but... Okay, bye. And then Boo. Boo? Where are you going? Oh, Boo wants to go into the bathroom because that's the only place where she'll drink water. Boo, do you want some water? What? Okay. All right. We're gonna go because I'm gonna water Boo. Bye.